Have you ever put on your glasses, glanced in the mirror on your way out the door, and something just felt off? Not bad exactly, just tired, heavier than you meant to look. You couldn't quite name it, but the rest of your outfit looked sharp, and your face looked like it belonged to someone else's bad day. Here's the truth. It's usually not you. It's the glasses, and once you see what's actually happening on your face, you will never put those frames on again. This matters more than most women realize, because your glasses sit on the most looked at part of your entire body. Every conversation, every photo, every glance in a window. Your face is doing the talking, and your glasses are framing the sentence. The wrong pair can undo great hair, a great blazer, a great everything. And there's one on this list, number 5, that almost every woman over 50 is still wearing without realizing it's the one quietly aging her the most. We'll get there. Welcome back to Style After 60, where we make getting dressed. And yes, that includes what's on your face. Feel like it was made for exactly who you are right now. If style that actually fits your life is your thing, the subscribe button is right there. Let's get into it. Mistake 1 is the downward angled aviator. I understand completely why women reach for these. Aviators feel classic. They feel a little bit cool, a little bit Jackie O, and for decades they were marketed as the universally flattering shape. Here's the mechanism. Aviators are built with the outer corners of the lens angling downward toward the cheekbone. On a younger face with tighter skin, that downward sweep barely registers, but once there's any natural softening along the lower lid or cheek, which happens to every face eventually, it's not a flaw, it's just time. That downward line on the glasses runs parallel to the downward pull already happening in the skin. Two things drooping in the same direction multiply each other. The eye reads the whole face as tired before it even gets to your expression. The fix is the cat eye lift, or even just a frame with a flat or slightly upturned outer corner. A subtle upsweep, nothing dramatic, nothing costumey, does the opposite job. It pulls the eye up and out, working against gravity instead of teaming up with it. Here's the do-it-today trick. You don't have to buy new glasses to test this. Hold a hand mirror, tilt your current frames very slightly so the outer edge lifts half an inch, and watch your own face change in real time. That half inch is the entire argument. But aviators aren't even the most common mistake in this list. The next one is sitting in almost every drawer in America. Mistake 2, frames that are simply too small for your face. I get why this happens. A lot of women bought their good glasses 10, even 15 years ago when smaller frames were everywhere. Think early 2000s, those narrow rectangular lenses. She loved them then. They fit her face then. Nobody tells you that your face changes enough over a decade that the math doesn't work anymore. Here's why it backfires. A too small frame leaves visible space above the eyebrow and below the cheek. Bare skin the frame should be covering. That exposed space draws attention to exactly the areas that show the most softening with time. The brow bone and the under eye. It's not that the skin looks bad, it's that nothing is there to visually organize it, so the eye wanders and lingers. The fix is sizing the frame so the top edge sits at or just above your eyebrow line, and the bottom edge clears your cheek by a few millimeters when you smile. That's it. That's the whole rule. Do this today. Take your current glasses off, hold them up to a mirror against your actual face without putting them on, and look at how much skin shows above and below the rim. If you can see a full thumb's width of forehead between your eyebrow and the frame, that's your answer. I worked with a client a few years back who'd worn the same delicate gold rectangle since her 30s. The moment we sized her up into a slightly bigger, rounder shape, she said the same sentence I hear constantly. I look like myself again. That's the line. Not younger. Herself. That's mistake 2. Mistake 3 is the quick one, so stay with me. Mistake 3, and I'll keep this one quick. Avoid thick, heavy black frames on a small or soft face. The mechanism, fast. Thick rims are visual weight, plain and simple. On a strong-featured or larger face, that weight reads as structure. It gives the face something solid to organize around. On a smaller or softer face, that exact same weight overwhelms the features it's supposed to be framing. Instead of the glasses highlighting your eyes end up fighting for attention against an inch of black plastic. The face disappears behind the frame instead of being framed by it. The fix. Keep the silhouette if you love it, just lighten the material. Swap heavy black acetate for a fine metal frame, a two-tone combination, or a thinner acetate in tortoiseshell or a soft neutral instead of solid black. Same shape, completely different weight. Do it today. If you own thick black frames, put them on next to a thinner pair in good daylight. A window, not overhead lighting, and notice which one your own eyes go to first. The frame, or you. That's the whole test. Mistake 4 is glasses that fight your jawline instead of balancing it. This one is sneaky because it has nothing to do with the lenses and everything to do with width. I understand why nobody warns you about this. It's not intuitive. We think about frame shape constantly and frame width almost never, because shape is what catches our eye in a store mirror, and width is something you only really notice in photographs, usually after the fact. Here's the mechanism. If your jaw is the widest part of your face and your frame is narrow through the temples, the eye has nowhere to go but down and out to the jaw, because that's now the widest line on your whole face. The glasses essentially hand the spotlight to the jawline instead of sharing it with the upper half, where your eyes and brows are doing all the actual communicating. The fix is a frame with more presence through the upper half, rectangular, geometric, or a wider cat eye, so the top of the face carries enough visual weight to balance the bottom. Stylists call this framing up, and it's one of the only tricks that works on literally every face shape with a wider lower third. Whether that's a square jaw, a heart-shaped face with width at the cheek, or simply natural fullness that's developed over time, the goal is never to hide the jaw. It's to give the top half of the face equal billing. The do-it-today version. Stand in front of a mirror and cover your jaw with your hand. Look only at your eyes and brow with your current glasses on. Does the frame feel like it belongs to that upper half, or does it feel like it's barely there? Like an afterthought sitting on top of the real story happening below it. If it feels thin and forgettable up top, that's the gap, and it's worth sizing up your next frame through the temples specifically, not just the lenses. And here it is. This is the one I promised you back at the start, the mistake almost every woman over 50 is still making without knowing it. Mistake 5 is wearing glasses sized and styled for a face that no longer photographs the way it did when you bought them. Specifically, ignoring how much your skin's light reflection has changed and choosing a frame finish that fights it instead of working with it. Let me explain, because this is the one nobody talks about. As skin matures, it reflects light slightly differently, a little less bounce, a little more matte. Glossy black plastic frames, which reflect light hard and sharp, create a contrast next to the face that makes the skin look even more matte by comparison, almost flat. It's not that your skin changed for the worse, it's that the frame is now working against the very thing it's sitting next to. The fix is a frame finish with some warmth and some texture. Tortoiseshell, a matte or semi-matte acetate, warm honey or soft brown tones, or transparent and crystal frames that let light move through rather than bounce hard off a glossy surface. This single swap is, frame for frame, the biggest instant refresh available in eyewear right now, and it's the reason crystal clear and warm-toned frames are dominating 2026 collections. Not because they're trendy for trendiness' sake, but because they solve this exact problem. Do it today. Hold your glasses a few inches from a window and watch how hard the light bounces off the surface. If it's a sharp, flat glare, that's a glossy finish working against you. If the light seems to sink in a little, that's the warmer finish doing its job. That's the big one. But I'm not done. There are 2 more, and one of them is about something almost nobody checks before buying. Mistake 6. Ignoring nose bridge fit and letting your glasses constantly slide. I understand why this gets overlooked completely. When you're trying on glasses in a store, you're looking at the shape, the color, whether you like how it looks in that 30-second mirror check. Nobody's checking how the bridge actually sits on a 5-minute try-on. And honestly, most of us were never taught that bridge fit was even a separate thing from frame shape. Here's the mechanism, and it's purely physical, not aesthetic at all. Most mass-market frames are built around a higher, narrower nose bridge. That's just the standard mold most manufacturers use. If your bridge is lower or wider, which is extremely common and has absolutely nothing to do with age, it's simply bone structure. The frame has nowhere to rest, so it slides. And a sliding frame means you spend your entire day pushing it back up with one finger, over and over, which reads visually as fussing. Constant small adjustments make you look less put together than the glasses themselves ever could, no matter how perfect the shape and color are. The fix is adjustable or saddle-style nose pads, or a frame specifically built with a low bridge fit. Many brands now label this clearly on the product page, which they simply didn't do a decade ago, so it's worth searching for by name when you shop. Do it today. Tilt your head down slightly, the way you would to read a text message, and let go completely. If your current glasses slide within about 3 seconds, that's not a you problem, it's a structural one. And an optician can often adjust the existing pads on your current frames for almost nothing. You don't need to replace anything to test whether this is your issue. And mistake 7, the last one, choosing a frame shape that matches the era you bought your last good pair instead of where your face is now. This is the gentlest one, and maybe the most important. We were taught, for decades, to find your glasses once and stick with them. That loyalty to a single style was somehow a form of good taste. Nobody told us faces change shape slightly with time, the way every part of us does, and a frame chosen for a face shape from 20 years ago doesn't automatically still match. Here's the mechanism. Faces typically soften slightly through the mid-face and jaw over the decades. A frame chosen for sharper, younger bone structure can end up exaggerating that contrast rather than complementing it. The glasses are working from outdated information about your own face. The fix isn't throwing out everything you love. It's getting your face shape rechecked every few years, the same way you'd revisit a haircut. Oval, round, square, heart. These categories shift gradually, and the frame that flattered you at 35 may genuinely not be the frame that flatters you now, through no fault of yours at all. Do it today. Take a plain, makeup-free, hair-pulled-back selfie in flat light and actually look at the width of your forehead versus your jaw versus your cheekbones. That single photo tells you more about your current face shape than any frame display in any store. Now here's the real secret. The thing that ties every single one of these together. None of these 7 mistakes are really about glasses. They're about light, weight, and direction, where weight sits on the frame, which way the lines point, and how light bounces off the surface, sitting right next to your skin. Every fix on this list is really the same fix wearing a different name. Make the frame work with your face's current geography instead of against it. That's the principle stylists use, even when they're not thinking about it consciously. We're not asking, is this frame trendy? We're asking 3 quiet questions every time. Does the weight sit where the face needs support? Does the line move in the direction the face wants to go? And does the finish play nicely with the way the light hits this particular skin? Once you understand that, you genuinely don't need anyone to hand you a list of approved shapes for your age ever again. You'll look at a pair on the rack, run those 3 questions almost without thinking, and just know. Every one of these has an easy fix, and the difference in how you look and feel when you get it right is real. Not subtle, not just nice, genuinely real. The right frame doesn't just sit on your face for 10 hours a day. It changes how people read you in every single interaction, every photo, every glance across a room, before you've said a word. That's worth getting right. You've earned the right to feel confident putting on your glasses every single morning without a second of doubt, not because you need to look younger, because you deserve to look like exactly who you are right now, at your absolute best, with nothing on your face working against you. If this helped you see your own eyewear a little differently, give it a like. It genuinely helps this channel reach more women like you. And subscribe for more of this every week here on Style After 60. And tell me in the comments, which of these 7 were you guilty of? I read every single one. And I'd love to know which mistake surprised you the most, or which one you're already planning to fix this week.